And into the belly of the beast. Both the driver's and CO's hatches have a sideways sliding hatch as opposed to the vertically opening top on the other three. To get in, to leave room for this to open, the entire hatch has been rotated around so the periscope is facing the rear. So into the belly of the beast we go. Slowly. Oh. Very slowly. There we go. I now kind of fit. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Every time I get into a new vehicle, it seems to be that I will say, my God, it's cramped in here. This brings things to an entirely new level of crampedness, if there is such a word. You can see how close my knee is against the interior of the wall. My head, no room whatsoever. Now, I can lower the seat back a little bit, so I'm sort of in a nice Abrams-style reclined driving position. I can get the two control handles and work that way. But even then, you still have a small problem that the driver's periscope, which is located up here, remember I mentioned the hatch will spin around. You spin it all the way to the front, the periscope is now there. So I can't see anything. A minor design flaw. The alternative is I just pull my head very close forward and my back is going to go immediately. This is definitely a vehicle for small tankers or artillerymen. The controls themselves are simple mechanics laid out. The one thing I will point out initially on the far left are the two dials for the compressed air ignition system. The two bottles are directly beneath my feet. And what that'll do is if you're in very cold weather, you just quickly release the valve, a blast of compressed air goes in, turns over the engine, and it's compression ignition, away you go. The clutch is located on the left pedal, a very, very hard pedal to press. There you go, and out. Steering and brakes both are the tillers. You got little knobs here for you to set your parking brakes if you wanted to do that. No complications whatsoever there. The accelerator on the right. It's got a little stirrup to keep your heel in as you move it. There is also an attached hand throttle if you don't want to use your foot pressure for, let's say, idling. Gear lever. The gearbox is a little bit weird. It starts off 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up at the top right corner is reverse. To the left of it, there's a little handle. We're not entirely sure what it is. We suspect high range, low range. You would have thought it would be in the manual somewhere, but I guess we haven't found it. And the instrument panel is missing all the wonderful dials, such as the speedo and rev counter, what I assume they would have to be in there somewhere. Beyond that, the only remaining item of any note for the driver whatsoever is stop for the driver's hatch. So we'll do this, and then I don't feel brave enough to close this because I may not be able to get it back up again. This vehicle is not being particularly well maintained. That's it, driver's intercom, and next we're going to move to the back. But hopefully there's a bit more room. The inner sloping hull, it does take up a lot of room inside, but at least it has provided me with a nice little seat to talk about the gunner's position. I suspect that the gunner originally had a seat that was attached to the gun itself. There is a mounting point here with nothing on it. I certainly can't imagine how else the gunner would sit, because there's no way, given the amount of movement of the gun, that the gunner could sit on where I am right now. For his controls, fairly simple. He just controls elevation. It's a simple hand crank. Up and down, nothing particularly major there. Sighting, he would have a direct vision sight removed from this vehicle. It would have been, I'm told, a 2.5 magnification sight. The panoramic sight, as you can see, is covered in grease and tape. The idea behind this is that it stops the system from rusting away and you can use it again in the future. Shame about the rest of the vehicle. To use it in the indirect fire role, the gun theoretically would lob around 13 kilometers. You'd actually have to open up the gunner's hatch, stick the sight up, attach the panoramic mirrors and whatnot, and that way you could fire indirect. The gun is an MT20SM, which I'm told differs from the MT20S by the letter M. The M stands for modernized. And what they did was they took the muzzle brake off the end of the gun. The muzzle brake was causing obscuration, it was causing a much bigger dust signature, so it was easy to find where the enemy was shooting the 6-inch round at you if you didn't see the muzzle blast. They changed the recoil mechanism. The recoil mechanism became more effective. There was less need for the muzzle brake, so they were able to simply dispense with it entirely. Fired 2 kinds of ammunition, AP or HE. 99.99% of the time this thing would, together with the other 152s, would have fired HE. And frankly, even if you hit a tank, there was no point in AP. AP was a bunker busting round, which was only the hardened bunkers that the 6-inch high explosive wouldn't deal with. You hit a tank with a 6-inch high explosive round and the crew are going to have a significant emotional event if they're still alive. While I'm here, I'll just push the gun out of the way. You're not really supposed to be able to do this. And you can just see the torsion bars going along the side here, and then there's also an escape hatch for the lads to get out if the 5 up top don't work. Next stop, loader's hatch. Alright, you may think that this is a recoil guard, but you'll note that there's no protection for anybody else in the crew, so that's a giveaway that it's not. This is the loading tray, and what will happen is there's a little U-shaped piece you'll see here in a moment when I fold it down. Loader will grab the projectile, put it down on the cup, slam it forward. You can roll it into position and then he simply shoves the round into the breech. When it's done, he folds the tray out of the way again. The gun can recoil, has room, and while the gunner is still aiming, he can then grab another projectile and put it onto this little ready cup here. Other than that, there are 20 rounds of ammunition in total stored around the vehicle. A lot of 50 cal as well. Oh, sorry, 12.7, different caliber. Towards the rear, the only other things of any great note is you can actually see the back end, or actually the front end of the engine. In here is one of the multi-Cyclone Air Filters. There's one on each side. And just for morale effect, there's a couple of vents there with fans. Interior light, just there's 1, 2, I count 2 in here, so it's going to be a little dark. And that's it for the number 1 loader. Next up, number 2 loader. There is an assistant loader to help the primary lug the huge rounds around. Nobody's been able to tell me specifically if there is a separate loader for the propellant versus the charge, if they just split the job evenly. I suspect 1 per type of propellant or charge. The only other thing he's got is down there is the manual traverse. That's it. Finally, the commander's position, front right of the vehicle, where he can't see any of the rest of the crew, but at least he can see where the track's going. To his direct front, he's going to have the radio mount. The controller for the radio is here. No other controls whatsoever I can see. To his left is the coaxial 12.7 Dushka. Nice for a coax. I have to say I'm a product of my age. I'm looking at the little guide here and trying to figure out where the ammunition is kept on the far side, because of course in the Abrams it goes over the gun. I have it wrong. It's a right feed weapon. It is not disintegrating link, so the entire link of empty link casing is going to go all the way over the gun and fall off on the far side. And I am about ready to get out of this thing. It is incredibly small. It's huge, but that's simply in terms of volume. In terms of how much room there actually is to move around, not so much. So I'll see you outside. I have to say I'm quite glad I was never assigned as an Object 704 tester. The thing is absolutely miserable in there, even though it is relatively large. One final point to note, it has a couple of different names. Object 704 is of course what we are most familiar with. Another name was Krivets 2, after the Kirov tank plant that it was made in. The third name that you will sometimes see, the ISU 152 model 1945, apparently is a post-war appellation. I am informed that this term is never found in the archives. So that's it for Object 704, and we'll see you on the next one.